Good evening, I'm Anna Jabłońska and welcome to Poland Daily Business. A possible takeover of Poland's national carrier lot by a new state-controlled aviation company, the Polish Air Group, was on Thursday given the green light by the country's consumer watchdog. Poland's Office of Competition and Consumer Protection also approved by possible takeover by the Polish Air Group of two other companies, Aircraft Maintenance Services and LS Airport Services. The Polish Air Group was set up in January by Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki to consolidate some of the companies on the country's aviation market. The Polish Air Group is expected to act as an umbrella organization that will set a joint strategy for the domestic civil aviation sector. Poland's Central Audit Office has announced that the consumer protection authorities in 2005 to 2013 reacted too late to unfair practices by banks offering mortgages in foreign currencies, and that the public administration bodies did not ensure proper enforcement of mortgage takers. Hundreds of thousands of Polish families took out foreign currency mortgages up until 2010. The removal of a fixed exchange rate against the euro by the Swiss Central Bank meant that monthly installments for many Poles ballooned overnight. Poland's finance minister has stated that the country's economic growth could slow to around 4.5% in the second half of this year and to below 4% in 2019. Teresa Czerwińska was speaking after the country's Central Statistical Office released an estimate in which the Polish GDP grew by 5.1% in the second quarter of this year. The Polish GDP grew 5.2% in the first quarter of 2018. Poland's economy grew 4.9% in the final quarter of 2017 and expanded by 4.6% in 2017 as a whole. Thank you for watching Poland Daily Business. Coming up next, Aleksander Wierzejski and his guest. Good night.
You're watching Poland Daily Business Edition. Our guest tonight is Nick Sadowski from New York. Sir, welcome to our show.
Thank you for having me.
As a Polish-American businessman, you've been a target of Donald Trump's campaign in 2016. He visited, as the first president since 70 years, Polish Americans and directed to them his message, promising lower taxes, better condition for small and middle-sized businesses in the United States. And the question to you is, how about delivering those promises?
Well, I think his famous speech in Gettysburg, which I think turned the table and made him win the campaign, he made a lot of promises. Not all of them are being followed as we wish, but the main ones are. And I think he's delivering on from the businessman perspective, from the small and medium businessman perspective, he's delivering. They're lowering the taxes. And when you take a look at the American business world economy today, you can see an improvement, right? We have a very low unemployment rate. I think it's at 4. GDP rose to 4.1. This is what he exactly promised, that he's going to drive it up to 4%. He just crossed to 4.1. Of course, it's not a trend yet. Okay, to be a trend, you need a couple more quarters to see that this is the trend. But I would say in this perspective, he's delivering on for small and medium business.
Let's try get to the specific issues. What is Donald Trump doing that other presidents failed to do?
Taxes. Taxes for small and medium corporations, for the small businesses. You can actually feel the difference when when the year ends and you have to do your taxes. You can see how much money you saved, and this money can be reinvested. You can hire more people. You can buy more product to manufacture. So this is one of the major drivers, I think.
He's also pulling the manufacturers to the country. For 20, 30 years, manufacturers were leaving the United States, leaving the Midwest, leaving those desperate people who work there for whole their lives, and suddenly they will be left without of anything.
And there's a huge question about the trade wars right now, right? Because everybody's saying, oh, Trump is starting the trade wars, how it's going to end. Well, my take is on this is simple. depending how the trade wars, how we're going to start tariffing other countries. You have to remember that the United States was a victim of unfair game from China, from Europe. We didn't really care about ourselves. And we killed our industry also, allowing the trade unions to really go wild. So if you, let's say, hire 30 people in a medium business, small business, and you have trade unions, and they tell you you have to pay them $40, $50, $60 an hour, where you have people that will easily take that job for $25, $30, and there's a line of people, but you cannot hire those people. You have to hire the trade union people. The businessmen will drive the business outside of the country, where they can have the working force for $12 an hour.
Or in Mexico.
Or in Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's improving. American Poles are happy with Donald Trump.
I think business people, yes. I mean, Donald Trump is a very specific person. I'm not a huge fan of the way that he presents himself and he talks. He's a businessman. He's not a clean-cut politician who is like smiling everywhere. He's a straightforward guy. He bankrupted many times, so he learned the risks. Okay, he built his empire. So if he's taking his experience and putting into the politics, into the economy of the United States, I think it's good.
What happened to this huge infrastructure program that Donald Trump promised to rebuild the highways of America, like I-95, like airports that look like third world right now?
I'll be honest with you, I'm looking forward to this because America is falling apart. And if we start taking care of infrastructure, this will create enormous amount of jobs for decades. Okay, and we need that. The bridges are falling, the roads are in not too great shapes. So I hope that he will deliver on this.
Midterm elections are a few weeks from now. And this will be, as many observers say, the popular vote on whether you like Donald Trump or not.
Well, it's a big question. You have to remember that you are what you eat, and this is also what you absorb as news. Now, news in the United States are totally against, all the news corporations totally against the Trump.
So and we will see what people will say. People will have their say in a few weeks, and the same in Poland. We will have another municipal election, so everyone is looking forward to the results. Nick Sadowski from New York was our guest, and that was it for tonight's Poland Daily Business.